The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, we welcome you in. Today's new drug is solutions. I'm about solutions, Carlyon.
We got a lot of problems.
I heard you just gave the primetime guys a solution. Offensive tackle.
Yeah, I mean, let's start there.
Let's fix offensive tackle.
Let's start there and take advantage of one of the few spots, in the NFL you're not going to have depth. That's just the nature of the league, but they probably do have depth at offensive tackle, so use it. Yeah,
so we'll certainly talk about solutions coming up today on the program. We got a lot of kind of fun stuff to do today on the show. I'm going to expound a little bit on my solution. At least I hope they'll try. Today, I talked about it a little bit yesterday, but I got more and more thoughts about it. Something you said kind of got me thinking about. So we'll do that today on the program. We'll talk some college football. What about Woj retiring? I heard you talking to RJ about that. I'm not an NBA guy, but is he like? Where is he compared to Schefter, Rappaport?
I think right there with him. I mean, I'm not an NBA guy
the baseball
either,
guys.
But I will say, I'd say like Wojbomb is entered the lexicon way more than anything Schefter or Rappaport.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? And I think because he's and correct me if I'm wrong, JJ, because you follow the association really way closer than I do, but it seems like there's no other real peer to him in the NBA.
Oh, Shams Charania has overtaken him.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah. But mainstream people don't know Shams.
I wouldn't know him if he walked in our hallway.
I
wouldn't be able to
but I wouldn't have known that he. I know enough. But who would?
Yeah, he's not on ESPN.
Right. So, that's a big part of it.
And he must not be like, at least for what I follow on Twitter. Like I occasionally will see a clip of like him and. Like, isn't there supposedly like a thing with him and Kay Adams or something? Like,
I don't.
So I've seen maybe.
Guy.
That is incredible. Yeah. But so that's really the only time I've ever really even seen him. But again, I don't click on NBA stuff, so it's not going to put NBA. Yeah,
over the
last
into
few
years,
timeline.
He's been breaking like just as many, if not big ones. But I don't think that's why he's retiring or whatever, or becoming a GM.
No, he wants to do something different.
Yeah, I think ESPN man, that's your whole life. It like chews you up and spits you out, man.
So who's the best baseball guy? Olney, Kirkjian, who Rosenthal,
Jeff Passan, maybe.
Passan, you think? So there's a handful of those guys. Passan, Rosenthal, Olney. Kirkjian is kind of yesterday's guy.
Gammons was the on the Mount Rushmore.
He was the ultimate.
Insiders.
Yeah, he was actually ahead of the other sports.
Diamond Notes.
Yeah, he was.
It was unbelievable how good Peter Gammons was.
And certainly Schefter and Rappaport, like him or not, they're the recognized ones today.
Absolutely.
Mort was before them. Mm-hmm. Peter King, even though he wasn't an ESPN guy, was right there.
Yep.
But yeah, I would say Woj in terms of, you said it, Wojbomb is part of the vernacular now, isn't it? Yeah, it really is. So
and I don't even know, to Hays' point, like who the big one is between Schefter and Rappaport. I guess it's Schefter.
I think it would be Schefter, but I think it would be like 55% to 45%.
Yeah, Woj never had any competition until recently. It was just him.
That's a good point. That was, but it was. I'll say this, like Hays, I'm not a super big NBA guy, but that jarred me a little bit seeing he retired. That on Twitter, seeing it today, I thought, wow.
Well, and
by the way, he's got 6.5 million followers on Twitter. 6 million. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
That's movie star numbers.
I mean, that's almost as many as Dan Hicken.
Well, not as many as Dan, but but you have to have fair comparison.
Correct.
That's not fair to Woj to make that comparison.
Good point. But he's a superstar, and it is interesting what he's deciding to do. Now he is going to his alma mater, but St. Bonaventure, I would say, is a middling college basketball program, and to be the GM there, I would think that I don't know that we'll ever really hear from them again, because I don't know that they're going to really do much. I can't imagine that they're flush with NIL dollars.
You're not going to see the Bonnies in the Final Four, you don't think?
I don't think.
Not right away, maybe?
No. But, take
a couple years, maybe?
To hit to JJ's point, Schefter kind of said this earlier, it is a job that you're always on the clock. Right. And so, he gets to obviously go back to his alma mater.
He could sleep. Yeah. I don't know how those guys sleep. They're breaking news
but I will say this. If you're the NBA guy, though, isn't it really just kind of in season?
July. Yeah. Well, it's really like July. In season, yes, but mostly it's free agency stuff.
It just doesn't feel like it produces as much breaking news as like the NFL does.
Yeah, and so I will say
nothing does like the NFL does.
But and here's what's interesting too. I didn't know he was a St. Bonaventure guy, but St. Bonaventure, to their credit, they were Butler before Butler. They were Villanova before Villanova. They were the school that you never heard about until basketball season. Remember, Bob Lanier went there. I mean,
that was what I was going to say, because I can't think of anybody in my lifetime that they've had that really resonates.
Well, in your lifetime, they haven't.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, really, I was a real little kid when they had a guy named Dave Bing who went on to be a really good player for the Pistons, and Bob Lanier, who everybody knows,
right,
was in fact, Lanier played against Gilmore. In fact, one of JU's big run when they went to the final game, they beat St. Bonaventure. I think Lanier was hurt. And then Issel fouled out when they played Kentucky. So, but the point is, they were that Creighton Butler school you hear about nothing except their basketball, but their basketball is really good before them. So I'll be interested to see if God believe they're paying them a bunch of money. I don't know how much money they got, but so you got as GMs go at schools that size.
I'd be interested knowing what it would be.
Yeah, I mean, a bunch of money for them.
I wonder what he made at ESPN. Has anyone disclosed that?
I have no idea.
Would you guess it's more than 4?
I'll text
I was going to
Rocco.
guess like 4.
Maybe 4, somewhere in there.
That seems steep, though, for just like a guy who tweets.
Is $4 million more than DeRocco makes, would you say? Would you say it's
that
high?
is incorrect.
I wouldn't think.
Well, we all know that.
Yeah, okay, so there's all right. So we got a lot of things we'll talk about today on the program. We're going to what we think the Jaguars should do. Another thing, too, about the Jags. Is this a game of desperation? I think that is it's too early to be desperate. Again, you've played 12% of your season. 88% of your season remains. Yet, to just quiet the angst. Sometimes a game is important to quiet the angst. I will say this. If you get to 0-3, again, I don't expect them to win the Super Bowl anyway, but at some point you got to win one of these. So the level of desperation, we'll certainly talk about that. Also, I'm going to give you my list of what should be the Gator coaching candidates. I've got a list of 4.
Love it.
We
got a Frangie hot board today?
You got a hot board, okay?
Right.
And here's what I will tell you. It will be different than other hot boards.
Love it.
I'm going to give you my list of 14, and I'm going to set it up for you, but I've got a list of 14 coaches.
14?
That I think they should.
Hopefully we don't have to go that deep.
Well, you might, okay? Okay, but it's 14 coaches who I would be happy with any of them.
Really?
Yeah, I would be happy. I would be happy with any of the 14. I would be, but it's gonna. You're gonna be surprised by the list. You're gonna go, oh, that's stupid. So I'm gonna prepare you for that. But it's realistic guys. Saban's not on the list.
Yeah.
Because he's not taking the job.
Urban's.
It's 14 guys.
Is Kyle Shanahan on the list?
Well, he's first. Okay. So, but it's 14 guys that I think they should make a call. Some of them would be crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't think for a minute there's no NFL guys on this list.
Love it.
Okay. Don't think for a minute there's not an NFL.
Is Press Taylor on the list?
Okay, well, he's first. He's second. So I'm going to give you my list today, the Frangie list of who I think they should pursue. So that comes up on the program a little bit today as well. Also want to talk about the Tennessee Volunteers. And we got our State Farm College football report coming up later. We'll talk Florida, FSU, and Miami with Shane Matthews, Tom Block, and Joe Zagacki. But is Tennessee on the cusp of being great? Because I don't think I want that.
They are.
I don't think I want.
No, you do not.
I don't want that. What I've enjoyed. Let me tell you what I've enjoyed about life. Okay, I've enjoyed fresh air. I've enjoyed cold beer. I've enjoyed a day on the golf course or a day at the pool, and I've enjoyed knowing Florida's going to beat Tennessee. In no particular order: fresh air, cold beer, a day of golf,
right,
and knowing Florida's going to beat Tennessee. No matter how bad Florida is, no matter what's going to happen. Tennessee might be better, but Felipe Franks, who was no good, might throw a 90-yard touchdown. Okay, then Florida might be no good, but Antonio Callaway, who couldn't even stay eligible, might spin away and run 100 yards for a touchdown. Okay? No matter what's going on, there was always that. I don't want that to go away. I don't want the beating them 78 out of every 79 years to go away. I've enjoyed that, and
it's been very pleasurable.
Yeah,
and now really the theory is going to be put to the ultimate test because if Josh Heupel loses to this Florida team in Knoxville,
right?
I can't imagine the meltdown on Rocky Top they will have.
And the reality, I told you this yesterday, Tennessee up 30-0 on Kent State had an onside kick.
Yeah.
If you're going to onside kick on Kent freaking State up 30-0, how many are they going to try and put on the Gators?
Oh, it's
Can you imagine? Like, can you imagine? I mean, those Tennessee fans,
I will say sometimes that works against you.
Those Tennessee fans will start tailgating on Tuesday.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, they're not taking the day. They're taking the week off.
But I remember
they're all taking the week off.
I remember the Florida-Tennessee game where Kiffin had talked all the smack about Urban cheated to get New Keys Richardson, but Tennessee was still able to get him. And so going into that game, everyone was convinced Florida was going to beat them by 60 in the Swamp. Right. Everyone. It was like, you can't just win this game. You have to humiliate them. And Florida won, but they only won by, I think, by like 12 points or something. Right. It was competitive. And then Urban after the game said, well, we had some guys with the flu. Right. And Lane fired back with, well, the next time we feel like we didn't play very well, we'll just tell you guys that everybody was sick. Right. So, I mean, it does put a lot of pressure on you when it's like, you can't just win this game. You have to basically win by 70. So we'll see. I mean, look, I still think Tennessee will win by 70, but it does at least throw a little bit of a layer in there for the game.
Well, all I know is I like today when we beat him with the tight end playing quarterback, which is what Felipe Franks became. A guy that couldn't stay eligible running after spinning away from a guy who wound up going to West Virginia or East Virginia or somewhere. God bless him.
And didn't like Treon Harris throw a touchdown to beat them? Like, and it was like in a 10-6 win in Rocky Top. I think it was the
Austin Harden year?
The game that Driscoll and Easley got hurt in.
Yeah, okay.
I want to say Treon Harris threw
10-9.
10-9.
No, the 10-9 was the Austin Harden game. That might be the same
no,
game.
No, it wasn't.
Treon Harris sparks a Florida comeback as the Gators defeat Tennessee 10-9 in 2014.
But Frank's right. There was another game where Harden kicked a field goal. Yeah. And Florida won a game that they had no business winning.
Well, Austin Harden, but do you know his career stats? He was 1 out of 90. Okay. His career stats. He never made anything. He was the worst kicker, and he might have been the worst kicker in SEC history. And he lined that one. And he lined up for a 50-yarder to beat Tennessee. And he kicked this Phil Negro knuckleball.
It was the worst
kick. It was the worst kick ever. Yeah. And somehow dove inside the upright and just over the crossbar.
Yeah, it was also 10-9.
Yeah,
that was 2014, and that was after Florida was down 9-0 going into the fourth quarter.
So how long was the field goal?
49.
49.
So the same game was Austin and Treon.
Yeah.
Same score.
Yeah, but it was the.
You're saying there were 2 10-9 games?
It was the same game.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, same game.
Same game.
Yeah, but Austin Harden, God bless. I mean, there was he's down now as worst kicker in football history. Any sport, high school, all of it. But he knuckleballed that thing through. I mean, those 3 games. So anyway, I'm afraid. I bring this up because I'm afraid they're going to beat the hell out of Oklahoma and beat the hell out of Florida. And then I think they have found something.
I agree. Of all the teams that I've seen so far, Tennessee seems to be the one playing with the most edge.
Right.
Where they are just they are out to destroy you. Yeah. They're like Drago. Yeah. And unfortunately, I don't think Billy Napier is going to be Rocky in this one.
Yeah, I'm afraid not. Hey, speaking of Billy Napier. If they fire Billy Napier, they owe him $26 million in a buyout. Okay, that's if they fire him without cause. That's the way it'll be. It happened with Dan Mullen. They owed him $12 million. They had to pay him $6 million up front, and then over time pay the other $6 million. This is the same way: $13 million up front, and then in time. But I wonder if the Jaden Rashada thing legally gets them off the hook. The way Hugh Freeze, his behavior got kind of. Ole Miss off the hook. So Brett Hastings is going to be here. Sports and Courts is up next. We're going to delve into that. Can Florida save some of that $26 million if it does fire Billy Napier? And what are the legalities of that? That comes up in just a bit. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Get entertaining insight on Sunday's games all day Monday.
They came together as a team.
Sink your teeth into Dandy Foods Postgame Monday.
It is a game.
Makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff on 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here. It's truck season at Nimnick Chevrolet. Chevy trucks have what you need to get things done, like a brand new Silverado 1500. This month, save up to $10,000 off a new Silverado. For well-qualified buyers, you get rates as low as 1.9% financing and no payments for 90 days on all 2024 Silverado pickup trucks. Shop online 24/7 at nimnickchevy.com. So who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
This is Josh Woolsey with Woolsey Morecambe. Woolsey Morecambe is your MVP in the legal game. Our team of skilled attorneys tackle personal injury cases with compassion and expertise. With fumbles like a car or truck accident, We're here to seek the compensation you deserve. Right here in Jacksonville, we've successfully won over $100 million and earned a championship-worthy record. When it's game time, you want a team that plays to win. Contact Woolsey Morecambe at 1-800-WOOLSEY. Offices, Jacksonville.
Are you thinking about upgrading your outdoor space with artificial turf? Well, you're going to love working with Caleb at Sunshine Turf. He's genuine, always on time, and really trustworthy. Frank Frangie here. We had Sunshine Turf design and install turf at the Bragan Baseball Complex, and it's gorgeous and maintenance-free. From putting greens to pet runs around pools and more, Sunshine Turf can do it all. Visit sunshineturf.info to get a free quote today from Sunshine Turf. That's sunshineturf.info.
When you're shopping for insurance, you might say,
"What? Huh?"
I'm so over this.
But what you really need to say is something that could actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When you get a local State Farm agent, they can help make it easy and help you choose the coverage you need. Plus, they're available online, over the phone, or even in person.
I'm so into this.
Call State Farm agent Joe McGee in Jacksonville at 389-3592.
Hi, I'm Frank Frangie, and I've depended on South State for my banking needs as long as they've been serving Duval. Whether you're saving for retirement, purchasing a home, starting a business, your goals are their commitment. With forward-thinking, personalized banking solutions and best-in-class service, South State is ready to help you navigate your financial journey. Connect at southstatebank.com or drop by any of the 5 local South State offices. South State Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
It's the blog players put their pads on for.
So we won it, we got to bring it.
My thoughts and observations on our home team. That's what I share with you every week on my blog.
Roland Reach Plumbing brings you Hays Blog on 1010XL.com.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 1335410.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon for MyBookie. Football is back. Winning season is back. MyBookie's here to make sure you're ready to cash in on the action. This season, MyBookie is pulling out all the stops with incredible promotions like weekly risk-free boosts on Thursdays where you can bet without a sweat. If your bet hits, you win big, and if it doesn't, forget it. MyBookie will refund your wager. But that's just the beginning. MyBookie is giving away hundreds of thousands in prizes with their Super Survivor and Squares contests. Get your entries in now for a shot at huge cash rewards. For a limited time, they are bringing back the double deposit bonus when you're ready to get started. Use my promo code 1010XL to claim a bonus that doubles your money on your very first deposit with promo code 1010XL before you even place a bet. Remember, exclusive giveaways and bigger rewards. MyBookie is the lock of the century. Bet on anything, anywhere, anytime, and make sure your season is a winning one.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy subs and sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gate store anywhere around Duval and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, so here's a reminder to get screened. Ackerman Cancer Center offers on-site imaging, including total body MRI. Early detection is the key. Visit AckermanCancerCenter.com.
Discover the difference that local expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Visit their showroom at the Avenues and browse high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Thermal Engineers is hiring. Thermal Engineers is a commercial HVAC contractor serving North Florida for over 20 years. Qualified technicians and installers. How does top pay, 401k, and full benefits sound, and a signing bonus? Is it time for a positive change in your career? Join the family-oriented commercial HVAC contractor at Thermal Engineers. Call 230-1172 or go to Thermal Engineers, Inc., an equal opportunity employer.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now time for Sports and Courts, legal issues in the sports world with Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. Hit back with Hastings.
Brett Hastings is here. How are you, buddy?
I'm not doing good. I want to sue the Jaguars. I want to sue
the
Gators for negligent infliction of emotional distress.
I think you should.
I mean, it's
we'll sue everybody.
We're not even out of September, and I feel like seasons could be over, and I just don't like it.
Jaguars, Gators, and Knowles are 1-7. I told Rick Ballou, you know what they did wrong? Didn't schedule Sanford. I mean,
I'll tell you what, I'm going to call Rick up.
Go
get a drink with him. It's a kinder, gentler Florida State year. Like all my buddies call up and commiserate. They don't even talk trash anymore.
Well, there's no bowl to play for. I remember in 1981 they played for the Peach Bowl. They were both. Do you remember this? In 1981 they were both like five. You played an 11-game schedule. They're both 5-5. Do you remember that? You're probably too young, but they're both 5-5. And man, the winner was going to the Peach Bowl. The loser was missing a bowl. I mean, it was. I think there were probably as many empty seats as there were full ones. They go play in 81. Florida wins. FSU's 5-6, misses a bowl. Florida's 6-5, and man, they get to the Peach Bowl. That was big. And West Virginia beat the hell out of them. Beat them by like 3 touchdowns. So I remember that. But speaking of Florida, and this is why you're here today for Sports and Courts. They owe Billy Napier $26 million, Brett, if they fire him without cause. But we've seen in college football where some guys get fired with cause, and it mitigates the money they owe. Could the Jaden Rashada thing? He is suing Florida, or he's suing Billy, and he's suing the collective. I guess he's not suing the university.
Right.
Could that mitigate the dollars Florida owes to Napier if they fire him?
Theoretically, yes. Right? Because so we can understand everything. Most people are employed, right? But they're not employed pursuant to a contract. So the contract changes everything from a legal standpoint, right? And so there's actually language in contracts, right, where they talk about we can terminate you for these reasons, and basically you've breached the contract. So the contract is off and the money that you owe is off. So when we say, hey, if you fire Billy Napier, he gets $26.5 million, that's as if you fire him and there isn't cause, right? And so there's actually a provision in his contract that says reasons that you could be terminated for cause. I wanted to get the physical contract. I've seen some of the ones that they have in the past. But generally, if you have intentional wrongdoing, if you have theft of company property, right? Sexual harassment, assault. We just saw Mel Tucker get terminated at Michigan State. They weren't going to pay him any money on that.
Yeah.
There was a gentleman at Utah State. I can't think of his name. His coach, he just got terminated.
Blake Anderson.
Right. And so, for going outside of these things. But one of them is fraudulent conduct. Okay. So what is the Jaden Rashada case? In it, they've sued for negligent misrepresentation and fraud. And they say that Billy Napier, and you'd have an argument to say he did this in the course and scope of his employment. And I doubt Billy's paying for this all himself, right? I bet the legal fees at the end of the day are paid by the UAA. And what if you proceed forward and the court finds, you know what, Jaden Rashada is right? Now, here's what's interesting. If you want the deal done tomorrow, you'd have a binding settlement agreement. And if later on down the road, it was found to be fraudulent conduct, the money would still be paid. There would be a new agreement. But if you terminated him today and said, we're doing it for cause because what you did in the Jaden Rashada case was potentially or was fraudulent conduct, you'd have to, they'd have to assert it and say it then. They wouldn't have to pay him anything. He would then sue for breach of contract and would go in and say, no, it wasn't, or here's all of these other things. And that case could be the linchpin to figure it out. Does Florida do it? No. I think Florida is not very aggressive when it comes to these types of things.
You think they fire him, they'll pay him?
I think if they fire him, they'll pay him, right? And, because then you can also kind of restructure a new deal, pay different monies out at different times, or, figure out things that you want to do. But theoretically, these are the types of allegations that are in the Jaden Rashada case that you could say it's fraudulent conduct. Then what happens? You say, hey, you know what? We're going to fire you for cause. And then you can negotiate out. Maybe you use that as leverage to bring the number down.
Florida is paying for Napier's legal defense. So in agreeing to pay for his legal defense, does that remove any liability that Napier would have? If the university has agreed to pay for his defense, then that kind of absolves him, right? Because what they're saying is, well, we think obviously he had nothing to do with this, which is why we're devoting our resources to defending him.
Not necessarily. So if you're out driving the 1010 XL van to a remote, okay, you're working and you're within the course and scope of your employment, you would go and hit somebody and cause problems. There'd be an insurance policy here. You would be sued individually. Assuming 1010 XL owns the vehicle, they would be sued. And so the insurance would then go and pay for it. Now, I don't know if there was actually insurance for the allegations that are there within Jaden Rashada. Sometimes there are agreements where you agree to indemnify the employee. And so if there's a separate agreement as it relates to it, that may or may not be the case. But they could just be taking care of these legal fees. They obviously wanted to have him be put in the best position. But here's what you got to know, right? You always have to analyze things. How can this go, and assume the worst? If there's some really bad evidence out there that we don't know about it, I bet Scott Strickland and the university at least knows about it. And that's the thing that I don't think we know about. Discoveries early in this case. And so you could sit down and legally, right? They're not going to fire Billy Napier until they sit down with their lawyers, right? Talk through these things, look at the agreement. You have to write the termination letter so that it complies and you deliver it in the ways that the contract says. And so that would be the thing that we don't know. Is there something out there where we say, you know what, these facts, we've been playing the PR game, because what do you think about it? Like I told you guys, the only thing that I saw real credence in the Jaden Rashada case is the possibility of fraud and it being for the $1 million, right? Sign with us. As I understand it, he didn't get that $1 million, right? Have we heard any other reports?
That's the report, yeah.
Well, so think about it. If Jaden Rashada prevails, maybe he only gets $1 million. But if you can terminate somebody for cause, you got a $25.5 million gain. And so that's where I think it could get a little bit tricky as you go through and to do that analysis. And it might be radically different if just say, hey, the AD isn't there or somebody else is out, and they could go take that position. Now, the biggest thing I think is if you're wanting to go get the guy that you think can save Florida football, it doesn't look good when you're stiffing the last guy on the money, whether you think he deserves it or not. And I think that's something that the next coach would go and look at.
And that's not a legal issue. That's just a strategic issue.
Right.
Brett Hastings, great work as always. We'll follow the story because we're all pretty sure he's getting fired at some point. We'll just see what happens and what he gets fired for. Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. That's Sports, of course. Thank you, Brett. When we come back, let's talk some Jaguars football. Hayes has got a way that he'd like to improve the football team. I've got a thought or two as well. We've got the State Farm College Football Report at 5 o'clock. At 5:20, I'm going to give you my list of candidates. We got a lot coming up on the program. This is 1010XL on 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey everyone, it's football season and we wanted to go to the drawing board to make this year's predictions. Let's compare our two blonde all-stars. Most touchdowns, best pricing in the market. Most passing yards, gives the most for your trade. Most receptions, free oil changes with every purchase. Super Bowl champion, wow customer service. This looks like a winning season for everyone. Come see Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, where you can score big all season long.
I'm Holt Harrell with Harrell & Harrell. Choosing a law firm after an accident is an important decision. With so many messages, we know it can all sound the same. At Harrell & Harrell, we believe what sets us apart is our commitment to you. We'll help you find doctors to get you better, and we'll work hard to maximize any recovery. Visit our website and look at our reviews to see how we've helped people just like you make this important decision. Harrell & Harrell. Offices, Jacksonville.
Bold City AC, keeping you cool. Feeling the heat, Jacksonville? Cool down with Bold City Heating and Air. From repairs to energy-efficient installs, we do it all. Your system worked hard all summer long to keep you cool. Give it a spa day. Schedule a system tune-up. Call Bold City Heating and Air today and experience the bold difference. Bold City AC, keeping you cool. Bold City AC. Visit boldcityac.com.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make, and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is, and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Attention poker enthusiasts. The Ladies International Poker Series celebrates its 20th anniversary at Best Bet Jacksonville, September 20th to 22nd. The highlights include a World Poker Tour mega satellite, free Q&A session with the First Lady of Poker, Linda Johnson, and Women's Poker Hall of Famer, Jan Fisher. There's also a $300 Ladies Championship No Limit Hold'em tournament and the $200 Kings and Queens event. Don't miss this action-packed weekend. For full details, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com. Best Bet Jacksonville, where the cards are hot.
Before termites attack your home or business and cause costly damage, Terminix it. At Terminix, we know how to stop termites. These destructive pests have been around for millions of years, but before they show up, so do we. And their time is up. Don't live with a termite problem? Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com. Terminix it.
When you want to be heard, send your opinion to the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
Thank you for believing in me when the bosses didn't give me a chance.
641-1010. No texting and driving. Get your thoughts heard on 1010XL.
Hacker here, and I've got something to celebrate. Honestly, I never thought I'd be able to say this. I'm on the countdown to dropping 100 pounds. Yes, sir. 90 pounds already, thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss, and I'm just 3 weeks away from hitting the big 100. The best part? I'm reaching that 100 mark in months, not years. Life-changing and life-saving, no doubt about it. I had pretty much given up on trying, but now I'm going to be here for my son, my wife, my family, and most importantly, for myself. I'm living my life to the fullest, and I didn't know just how easy it was to make happen with Awaken 180. When I hit that 100-pound mark, we're going to celebrate big. I'll keep you updated every week as I get closer, and you can even join in on the celebration. Details to come. In the meantime, pick up the phone and make your own 180. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
This is a one-of-a-kind Gabriel fashion sale.
Rings, bracelets, earrings.
All new for 2024.
For 3 days only.
September 20th, 21st, and 22nd.
Beards Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
The coolers are full at your local Gate gas station, making it easy for you to cruise in and cruise out with little downtime. Ice cold Coronas, Natty Light, Stella Artois, and Michelob Ultra. Don't forget the king of beers, Cold Buds. Gate's got them in the cooler, waiting for you.
Mortgage rates have plummeted, and Loan Pronto clients are locking in the lowest rates we've seen in years. Hey, it's Roger Moore, founder and CEO of Loan Pronto. It's happening. We are finally locking APRs in the fives, something we haven't seen for a long time. If that sky-high rate is killing you, or you need to get cash out of your home equity, now is the time to take action. Or listen, even if you want to keep that first mortgage rate intact, you can take advantage of lower rates with our Equity Express line of credit. We're seeing homeowners take $50, $75, $200 grand or more out of their equity and wiping out that high-interest debt. with an average savings of $850 per month. Bottom line, your home value is way up and mortgage rates have come way down, making this a great time to act. Call today for a 30-second rate quote. Do it now, and you can even skip your next 2 mortgage payments. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
NFL analyst Bucky Brooks on what he sees in the 0-2 Jaguars.
Right now, the stars for the Jaguars are not getting it done. There's no way to slice it. There's no way to sugarcoat it. The stars are not playing at a star level, particularly when it's been an offseason where ownership has paid a lot of money to a lot of the star players on the Jags. And if you ask me who the stars are, hey man, I'll reference them. 16, 13, 17, number 1, 44, 41, 23, and 3. Now, it's 2 games in. It's a small sample size, but after 2 games, you certainly are disappointed because the stars haven't shown up.
NFL analyst Bucky Brooks. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Ricketts Electric Wednesday on the Frangie Show. Ricketts Electric, the power connection you can trust.
We do thank our friends from Ricketts Electric. I'm telling you, if you have work you need it done commercially, work at your home personally, Ricketts Electric, that's the name that's rising in Jacksonville. The best electricians around and some of the best people you'll ever know. Ricketts Electric, they're about as good as it gets.
Without a doubt. Very salt of the earth, great people, huge Jags fan. Zach and I were texting yesterday, and he had some good solutions for how to get it fixed.
We're going to drag Zach in here, let him solve this
let's let
thing.
Zach Ricketts weigh in on what should happen.
904-320-5960. If you need electrical work, he's the best in the business. 904-320-5960. That is Ricketts Electric. Make your case that you made to the primetime guys about how you would take a look at Walker Little where.
I would bench Cam Robinson. I think he's been pitiful for these first 2 games, and I just think in looking at it, you've got to find something that might spark this team. And both tackles are playing poorly. Anton Harrison, I'm willing to give a little bit more of a benefit of the doubt to. He did miss a little bit of time in training camp. He's a young player. But I think Anton Harrison is still an ascending player going through a rough patch. I think he'll figure it out. There's no reason for Cam Robinson to be struggling at his career the way he is. And in the NFL, you are rarely going to have any kind of quality depth. So usually you don't have an in-house option. If you decide to bench a starter for a reserve, the drop-off is going to be so immense that it's not going to help you. It's going to hurt your team. I don't think really there's a big difference between Cam Robinson and Walker Little. I just don't. I don't think it's so extreme that I wouldn't try it. And at this point, you've given Cam Robinson a couple of games. He has been woeful. So I think at this point, to try and shake things up, yeah, I would like to see Walker Little start at left tackle. I would keep Anton Harrison at right tackle, and I would let Cam Robinson be the swing Monday night in Buffalo.
Okay, well, I'll be interested. I wouldn't do it yet, but I hear you. And your point, the point you made is when you're trying to fix stuff, the NFL rosters are such that you rarely have a personnel option. That's your point, and it's a good point because they do have a personnel option. So I wouldn't pull the trigger on that just yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we go there at some point. I would say if any move is going to happen on the offensive front, I do think that's the one. I don't think it's going to be Cooper Hodges for Brandon Sheriff. I don't think it's going to be Luke Fortner for Mitch Morse. I don't think it's going to be anybody at left guard. Anton Harrison is part of their future. If there's going to be a move, it would be Walker Little for Cam Robinson. So that would be the move if you made a move. And so, but I'd be surprised if it happens this early. But I don't think you're way off the mark on that. I wouldn't be shocked. Okay, I'd be surprised but not shocked. So But I hear you. That's a personnel move that I think that you'll hear discussed as it goes on. I'm going to go back to what I said yesterday, but I'm going to expound on it a little bit. I think the way they are built, personnel-wise, from a scheme standpoint, regardless of who's calling the plays, the way they are built, they are not built to be a run-it-right-at-you football team. This is not the Titans with Eddie George. This is not the Steelers with Jerome Bettis. That is not heck, it's not the Bucs with Mike Allstott. They're not built that way. The offensive line isn't built that way. The scheme isn't built that way. They are, you used the phrase finesse team before. I don't know if that's completely the phrase, but I think that's where they're a throw it to set up the run. They are built to throw the football. Bucky Brooks said it to us on Monday way better than I have. 2 years ago, when you felt like they were really coming into their own offensively, they used a lot of short passes in place of runs. Like Bucky said, those were running plays. They were just passes. But they had the same effect, screens, little quick throws out into the flat. I think I want to see how many attempts has Trevor had in the first two games? Off the top of your head, how many per game? 21 or so the first game.
Yeah, I'll have it.
He's had fewer attempts than the other two quarterbacks in both games, I think.
Yeah, he's barely throwing the ball.
Yeah, I would like to see the ball in the air a bunch. Now, to your point, it's hard to 7-step drop, let it fly down the field.
51 attempts, by the way.
51 total. So he's averaging 26 attempts a game. All right.
And that ranks his 51 attempts rank in a tie for 23rd in the NFL.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. So he's 23rd in attempts. I'd like to see. Now, part of it is you got to stay on the field. Part of it, your defense has to get off the field. They've allowed some long drives, but I'd like to see. I wouldn't mind to see the game start and it's pass. I mean, throw it all over the place. I wouldn't mind seeing Trevor Lawrence really let it fly. I really wouldn't mind seeing that. Now again, you got to protect, and one of the reasons I think they're striving so hard, Hays, for balance is if they're not balanced, then they're really concerned they're not going to block. But I would like to see a bunch of you got to get Christian Kirk involved. He's a really good player, regardless of whose fault it is. He has not been involved. He's got one catch, right? One catch, I think. Evan Ingram's got the one catch because he didn't play last game. If you'd have told me, now obviously injuries are a part of this, in fairness, but if you'd have told me we would get to game 3 and Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram would have 2-3 catches between them, you'd have thought I had a blue head, right? And so
yeah, you would have thought they'd have had that on the first drive in Miami.
Yeah, so I think you got to involve them. And look, you got something special in Brian Thomas Jr. The one area where I think the Jags there's two areas where I think the Jags can outflank the opponent as the season goes along. There's two areas. I think their two defensive ends, Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker, can outflank other teams' tackles. That's my opinion. I think they can outflank them. I mean, those guys had 27.5 sacks between them last year. They've already got 3 this year, I think, right? And I know that Trayvon's got 2 and Josh has 1, I believe. So I think they can outflank.
That's correct.
I think they can outflank the opponents with those two defensive ends. And Hays, I think the other area where you can outflank the opponent is with your receivers. I think it's a really good receiver. If you count Evan Ingram as a receiver, I think you can really outflank them with your pass catchers. And by the way, Brenton Strange is a pretty good player, too. He just hadn't had a chance. He was pretty good the other day. And we didn't go on and on about it. Do you realize how close he was to catching that Hail Mary?
Yeah.
Did you ever go back and see the screenshots of that thing?
Mm-hmm.
He had both hands on it. It was just he was falling down, and it was a long throw, and there were defenders all around it. But, I mean, that was an eyelash from being one of the most memorable wins of all time for the Jaguars. So
Brenton Strange averaging 21.7 yards a catch right now. He's got 3 for 65.
Yeah, he looks like – and, again, he caught the passes that Evan Ingram would have been catching. But Brian Thomas Jr., it's clear now there's something special. You made a good point yesterday. This isn't just a good player. This might be a really, really special player.
Well, he has 6 catches for 141 yards, which, by the way, is a gaudy 23.5 yards per reception average.
And it doesn't count the time that Jalen Ramsey tackled him or he would have had 60 more yards.
Correct.
Okay.
And, I mean, that's what – if you look at what has been available that either Trevor hasn't seen or the protection hasn't held up, if you gave him the yardage where he has been open – he'd be the story of the NFL. I mean, it would be like the offensive rookie of the year is in Jacksonville.
Yeah, now
I mean, as much as Worthy got praise for what he did in the opener for the Chiefs, I mean, you'd be sitting here talking about a player with 12 catches for 300 yards and a couple of touchdowns. including a 98-yarder.
Yeah. Now, back to your point, none of that happens if you can't protect, which is your point about Cam Robinson. It doesn't matter how good your receivers are if your quarterback's harassed the minute he gets to his drop. So that's a problem. So, but if do you max protect and run some two-man routes and see if they can cover Brian Thomas Jr.? Now, it's not that simple. I get that. But yeah, at least something like that's got to run through your mind. But I think the resuscitating the Jacksonville Jaguar football team, which we all know, at least for today, means resuscitating the offense because the defense has kind of held its own, I think has got to start with Trevor, Christian, Evan, BTJ. More than the running backs, more than let's change the play caller, more than let's change the scheme, even more than an offensive line change in my mind, although I hear you. I think you've got to get Trevor letting that thing fly. I wouldn't mind seeing it in the air 7-8 times in a row on Monday night, which I know that gets away from the balance you want. I understand that. But I'd like to see that. And by the way, it's going to be if it's a track meet game and you lose 38-35, I'd hate to be 0-3, but that would feel better than these other losses because I'd feel like the one thing, the quarterback who you just paid a bunch of money to, the free agent receiver Christian Kirk, who a couple years ago you paid a bunch of money to, and the newest wide receiver, Gabe Davis, who you paid, and then the newest wide receiver who you used a first-round draft pick on, they have to be your stars. They have to be your stars, and I think they're legitimately that good. Well, it wasn't a barrage what we saw in camp in preseason. It wasn't. It wasn't a mirage. It was real. They just have to find that. I would get the passing game going. I think it's the most important thing they could do. Yeah,
and again, this is something that Doug's talked about when describing opposing pass rushers. You know, he said in this day and really sometimes opponents talking about how they're going to defend Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker, and he'll say, well, in this day and age, you know, the ball gets out so quick. Right. Sometimes it can be hard for those guys. Well, turn that around. I mean, make that your advantage and protect your atrocious offensive line. And to your point, run those short passes. Make that the core tenet of the offense. And then obviously you want to take your shots as the game progresses. But I'm with you. The first 15 plays of this offensive script Monday night, I would come out. I would have started this week if I was Doug Peterson by saying we're gonna make a statement Monday night. Trevor right now is tied for 23rd in pass attempts, which is just vomitous in terms of what you talked about, his contract and just his talent and how you've built this roster. We are going to come out Monday night in Buffalo, and we are going to show this league that we can be an air show.
Yeah, and I get too that the whole mission in the offseason was to rediscover the running game and to rediscover balance. Press Taylor in one of his press conferences said we've got to take the running game, strip it to the studs, I think the words were, and then rebuild it. And I get that, and I also get that it's 2 games in. It's 12% of your season. There's plenty of times to tinker. So I'm not a panicker. I'm not saying, oh, my God, the world's coming to an end because they lost 2 games. They lost 2 very close games at the end. But I do think it is a talk show. Part of our job is what do you think they can do better? And I think they can throw the football. So and by the way, I like watching. I think they're pretty good at it. I think they're pretty good at throwing the football. So one of the things, the hallmark of Doug's tenure here to me has been that passing game. Yeah, the 2 defensive ends played very well last week. Travis Etienne's a terrific running back. The hallmark of what they are, since he's been the head coach in Jacksonville, I think he's a good coach. I think regardless who's playing home, I don't think the coach is the problem. I just think let's get this thing in the air a little bit. It's been 2 weird games. And one other thing too, and this maybe speaks more to when you come back home, which is 3 weeks from now, even the second half of the season. Everyone who talked about there was no energy in the stadium. There was no energy. No energy in the stands, no energy. Well, and I agree with that, by the way. But that's on the team. That's not the fan. These fans are good fans. The fans in Kansas City or Buffalo are no better than these fans. We have great fans. I mean, this Jacksonville Jaguar fan base, if you see them on the road, you see the brigade and so. I mean, this is a really good fan base. But you got to give them a reason. You know, fans that are excited, if they come to the ballpark super excited, that's because you've been winning and you've been exciting them. You know what I mean? I promise you, when they came to the ballpark for that Chargers game 2 years ago, they showed up jacked out of their mind because this football team had won so much at the end of the year, and they stayed electric, which helped you come back from a 27-7 deficit or whatever it was, 27, whatever the deficit was. So it's on the team to create that excitement, to create that juice in the stadium. Well, what does that more in a passing game? I mean, the two things that fans lose their mind about are a big sack or a 30-yard pass downfield. I mean, that's how you breathe juice, I think, into your.
And I really don't think Buffalo can keep up in a track meet for where they are right now. What Buffalo's been able to do through their first two games, Josh Allen's obviously an incredible player. He's probably the second best player in this league behind Patrick Mahomes. But it's been James Cook. It's been the running game. They haven't really been able to get Kincaid going. Their outside receivers haven't done much. Shakir's been pretty good for them. But they haven't really shown an ability to, I think, to get into that kind of game and keep up. So, I mean, I would test it. Buffalo obviously is down, three significant defensive players, a couple linebackers, and I believe their slot corner. So, I mean, I kind of think not only do I think the Jaguars should do it just because I think it makes them better to do it, but I also think with this opponent, I think you could get the Bills on their heels because we haven't seen Buffalo yet really need to lean on, okay, now we've got to throw it all over the place because James Cook has been phenomenal and Josh Allen has been phenomenal with his mobility. So I'd like to see it. I mean, I think if the Jaguars could rev it up, I'm not sure the Bills, as they currently are constructed in that receiving core, are able to do that.
Let's talk college football after this. We'll take a break. The State Farm College Football Report is next. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
In every game, there's a guy who just makes plays.
He's their best home run hitter, an elusive generational type back.
Listen for the Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game. Experience the universal difference on 1010XL.
This is Hays Carlyon for Kingfish Pest Control. Are you tired of spiders, ants, roaches, or other pests invading your home? Call the winning team at Kingfish Pest Control. Right now, score 20% off your new pest control service when you start during the football season. Also, enter their Swat That Kick Jaguars promotion at Jaguars.com for a chance to win 3 years of free pest defense. Save big and defend your home with Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
When you step into a courtroom, you're stepping into a fight. Someone wins, someone loses. I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and at Hastings Injury Law, we've got the experience you want in your corner if you or a loved one suffer a personal injury or a wrongful death. We're here to fight for you. So if you get hit, hit back with Hastings Injury Law, offices Jacksonville. Find us on the web at 904hitback.com or call our 24-hour helpline, 904-HITBACK.
Are you ready to upgrade your home? Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen. Energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Buy one, get one 40% off replacement windows and patio doors. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. This offer expires September 30th and restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit rbafla.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need help fixing a plumbing issue? Let our winning team go to work for you. 904-862-6769 or online at duckrooter.com.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners, Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley, have been helping first-time home buyers with their mortgage financing all over Florida for 34 years. First-time home buyers can get no or low down payments, anywhere from 0 to 3.5% down. As a first-time home buyer with Trustline Mortgage, you get added benefits for doing your loan with us, like lower rates on your mortgage insurance and lower closing costs. Oh, and did I forget to mention that Trustline gives first-time home buyers better mortgage interest rates? Here's the bottom line. Trustline Mortgage wants to help first-time home buyers accomplish your goal of home ownership. That's why Trustline Mortgage is offering the best first-time home buyer benefits around, period. Trustline Mortgage delivers with no and low down payments, lower closing costs, and better interest rates. Call Trustline Mortgage today at 381-LOAN. Yes, 381-LOAN to find out how we can help you buy your dream home. Or visit our website at trustlinemortgage.com. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage.
Certain restrictions apply. See office for details. Trustline is an equal housing opportunity. MLS number 331480.
Pickett here with my concierge doctor, Richard Townsend. Doc T, how does a concierge direct primary care operate?
We are a membership-based primary care made directly between the patient and physician. We'll have a limited amount of patients that allows us to give unlimited access and personal service to you. This individualized approach has been shown to lower hospitalizations as well as maintain healthier lives. We also give 24/7 access via phone to me outside of our scheduled office hours.
To learn more, go to mypvconcierge.com.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Atlantic Self-Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self-Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
What's changed totally inside and out? The Kuhn Flowers massive storefront, and yes, they've totally remodeled the showroom inside too. This is Frank Frangie, and the next time you drive by, stop and smell the roses at Kuhn Flowers.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about putting your worries in the right bucket. So often we put our worries in our own bucket, but many times they need to be in God's bucket. The Bible says, present your problems always to God. In other words, leave them in God's bucket. Understand that no matter what is out of your control, it's never out of the control of Almighty God.
To hear more inspirational messages by Reverend Dr. Nicholas Lowe, please visit our website at stjohnthedivine.com.
It's time to take it back to the 90s, Jags fans. Be at the bank Sunday, October 6th, as we debut our Prowler throwback jerseys against the Colts and induct legendary head coach Tom Coughlin into the pride of the Jaguars at halftime. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m. You're not going to want to miss this matchup. Lock in your seats now by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000.
I'm Max Fink here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. Being in panic mode in the third week of September is a spot no team wants to find themselves in, but that's the unfortunate reality the Florida Gators are facing right now. As a fan base grows frustrated with Billy Napier, here's his message about the Gators' first road game of the season as they travel to Starksville to take on Mississippi State Saturday at noon.
Just think in general, regardless of what team you are in this league or what opponent you're playing, when it's your first road SEC game, regardless of who it is and where it is, you got to be ready to go because there's a little bit different intensity to that. You're going into enemy territory and you got to be ready.
A big game for Napier this weekend as fans' patience level with Coach will hit 0 if they drop this one. It's 81 degrees at 5 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Time now for the State Farm College Football Report with Shane Matthews on the Gators, Tom Block on the Noles, and Joe Zagacki on the Canes. Presented by your local State Farm agent.
All right, let's kick it off. Talk Gator football. Shane Matthews from the Gator Radio Network joins us. His report is brought to you by State Farm agents Ron McCann, Mike Tosel, Caitlin Duggar, Jason Judy, Catherine Bouster. Oh, Shane, it's getting noisy out there. We know what we hear from here. Around the team, how much of this has gotten to them? How much of it has affected their play? Obviously, it's a struggling football team. The fact that the coach is on the hot seat, how much has that affected everything, in your opinion?
Well, Frank, I've never been around anything like this, quite honestly.
Yeah.
It's so early in the season, and, everybody's saying the right things. You don't know what their mindset is, and going on the road, we've taken a lot of good teams to Starkville and not played real well. So I don't know what's going to happen Saturday.
Shane, is there anything that can be done to fix the defense?
Oh man, I don't think so. I mean, it's sad to say that. We just don't have some dudes over there, and whether it's the scheme, players, or whatever, it's been going for at least 4 years now. Been really bad on that side of the ball. We do not affect the opposing quarterback, and if you don't do that, it'll be a long day.
I got to tell you, Shane, you and I have had this talk offline, but if the opposing team's running for 310 yards, that's not scheme, bro. That is, you don't have enough Jimmies and Joes. I mean, it was too easy for them. So what do they? What do you do? Do you put 7 or 8 in the box and take your chance with the passing game? Is there anything? You're a football guy. Is there anything they can do?
Well, I think you got to take some chances. The offense they're going to be playing, Mississippi State's not a great football team, but their scheme can give you problems offensively because they have a quarterback that can run the football, but he can make all the throws. They got good skill guys, and they go extremely fast, and we all know that at times we have struggled getting lined up in time. So I'll be anxious to see that chess match, how it plays out Saturday.
How do you anticipate Billy Napier utilizing Graham Mertz and DJ Lagway?
Well, I've said it all along. Graham Mertz is clearly the better quarterback. People get enamored with the splash play, but if they want to go try to win the game, I think Graham Mertz needs to play.
What do you think they're going to do? And listen, I'm not going to be a hypocrite here. I said they probably should play Lagway moving forward because I think he's got a lot of upside, and I think you're talking about the future now. So, but once they played them both, it was clear Mertz was a better player last week. I think Napier figured that out too. Maybe he knew it all along. So what are your expectations? Do you think it'll be Mertz most of the time and a few series for Lagway? That's kind of my guess. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm guessing that too. I mean, they're not really saying anything, but I know they want to play DJ. I mean, they got a lot of money invested in him.
Right.
We're saying that about a college kid, but it's true.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to see them both. I think I would go. I would try to has the hot hand. You got to figure something out to try to win a football game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Florida, Mississippi State comes up at noon on Saturday. Thank you, Shane.
All right, guys. Take care.
Shane Matthews from the Gator Radio Network talking Gator football. Let's head to Tallahassee now. Tom Block checks in from the Seminole Radio Network. His report is brought to you by State Farm agents Craig Dewhurst, Ramey Alabu, Margie Williams, Scott Hobson, Brandon Thomas, Tiffany Matt, Randy Taylor. Tom, I'll start with the same question. Is it time to look at Brock Glenn? Is it time? DJ Uiagalelei hasn't done anything horrible, but it doesn't look like he's lifted that team. Is it time to take a look at the other guys?
Personally, I feel like it is for the reason you just said. And I think if we sat down and we were with Norvell and he was great, if he would point out that, honestly, DJ is playing better than a lot of the guys on the offense around him, right? But that said, and DJ has performed better in practice, too. That said, though, the offense just, it's obviously not efficient. It's not functioning well. It's just been a bad offense this year. So, to me, at some point, you do have to make a change just to see two things really as it relates to Brock. Do the guys respond to him differently, whether it's his emotions or just his style, his manner in the huddle? And the fact that he's more of a threat to run changes the math defensively and maybe would open up some things. Because right now, nothing is open for Florida State, which has made everything a grind. So if they have to respect the quarterback in the run game a little more, does it make it easier to get 3 yards on first down and then you're 2nd and 7 instead of 2nd behind 6, So to me, I say yes. I don't know what Norvell's going to do, but at the very least, to piggyback on what we just said about Florida's situation, I'd like to at least see some time for Brock and get a couple series in this game.
Tom, I was encouraged by Florida State's improvement with their run defense. What did you see there, and is that something that now can maybe be at least piece of the foundation of trying to turn this around?
Yeah, I'm going to say yes, but I'm going to hedge it a little bit, simply because Florida State should have been better against the run, given it was a group of 5 opponent, Memphis. And I know they're a good team, but Florida State physically is better at the line of scrimmage, and so it should have been that way. That said, they simplified things defensively, and the effort was really good up front. I think Adam Fuller was very pleased with what he saw. Josh Farmer had a nice game. Some of the tackles really played well. They still need to get better at the edge, at the end position. But I agree. I do think it was a step forward, despite what I said about the caliber competition. I do think it's something they can build on, and they need to have that kind of presence at the line of scrimmage.
Tom, where are they? The age-old cliche, has he lost the team? Has he lost the locker room? I think they really respect Mike Norvell, and they're 1 year removed from a glorious season. I know that, so I wouldn't think that's the case. But I got to ask, is there any unrest? Obviously, they're frustrated. How are the players right now?
Yeah, I don't think he's lost them. And I guess the example I would give, and I don't know if I said this previously, but when things went south under Jimbo, to me, Jimbo was he was a lot of bark, and then the players found out that there wasn't necessarily always the fight to go with it. So not everybody was held accountable, and eventually that culture eroded. That's not the case with Norvell. I mean, what you see is what you get. The players love him. He's the same guy every day. All that said, I think there's just as much shock and surprise among the team and the coaching staff as there is the fan base and the media. And so, yeah, that leads to doubt in the mind. And so it makes the coaching challenge even tougher, because now you on top of game planning for the opponent and playing play to play, you've also got to work hard to not have that doubt creep into the guys' minds. And so I think that's where it is. It's human nature. They need something good to happen. They need a win. But it's not just going to happen organically. They got to go out there and make it happen. And
Tom, they play a good team this week. This is probably the best. They played the best Memphis team in a while, other than Mike's team there. This is probably the best Cal team in 15, 20 years. So this was not going to be easy this week either, is it?
I don't think anything on the schedule is going to be easy the way they've played so far. And I can't speak to Cal historically over the last 15 or 20 years. I do know I watched them play Auburn a couple weeks ago. Yeah. And my takeaway was, man, this is a pretty damn good Cal defense that's playing really physical football. And, that's not a great matchup for the way Florida State has played offensively right now. So I do think it's a challenge. And, it would do so much for the team, for the offense, for the defense really, too, and for the fans that are there. If Florida State could just the first time they touch the ball, move the football, find a way to get it in the end zone. I don't think Florida State has led since the first drive of the season against Georgia Tech, right? Or maybe the first half.
Yeah,
I forget when Georgia Tech ran the lead in that game.
Wow.
I mean, they just, can you get a score on your first drive and everybody take a deep breath and then just go play football?
That's a great point. Tom Block checking in from the Seminole Radio Network. Thank you, Tom.
You bet. Have a good one.
All right, let's go down to Coral Gables. My friend Joe Zagacki, the terrific play-by-play voice at the Canes, joins us. His report is brought to you by State Farm agents Joe McGee and Gene Coleman. All right, Joe, I'm going to start with this. The Canes are really good. It's now obvious. I don't care who they're playing. It's obvious they're really good. But teams that are really good, but they're not used to being elite, are the teams that sometimes can be asleep at the wheel. South Florida's pretty good. Is there any concern about that? I mean, what's the mindset of this football team as you're around them?
Yeah, I think their mindset is very good, Frank. I think their antenna is on high alert with South Florida. I think really all they had to do is make sure that they watched that Alabama game over and over and saw USF take Alabama deep into the fourth quarter, saw their physicality, saw their speed, saw their scheme on both sides of the ball. I think all of those things are attention getters for the University of Miami.
Joe, I've been really impressed with Miami's ground game, averaging six yards a carry as a team, which obviously in college with sacks, counting against that total, very healthy number. And it seems like it's a diverse group. How do you see that Miami running attack?
Yeah, they've got a staple of running backs. Damian Martinez, I think he got the week off last week. He carried the ball only 3 times. And it turned into the A.J. Allen show who ran for over 100 yards. A.J. Allen was a pretty good contributor to Miami a year ago, and he found himself buried on the depth chart behind Martinez and Mark Fletcher, who's really, really good. Chris Johnson has a tremendous amount of speed. Jordan Lyle has come in, the freshman from St. Thomas. He's played really well. And so you think all those guys, great competition. That being said, they're going to need a running game on Saturday against USF to slow down some of that pressure that Todd Orlando likes to bring.
All right, so I knew Cam Ward would be good. I say that. We thought he would be good. We also all said he might be, like, really good. 11 touchdowns, 1 pick. He's completed over 70% of his passes, and he does it in a casual way that it almost looks like he's toying with defenses. Is he even better than you thought? Is this what you expected? I know it's only been 3 games, and the competition hasn't been great yet, but he's even better than I expected. Is he better than you expected?
You know, I don't want to get too carried away, Frank. Yeah. Yes, he has been better than I expected. Way better than I expected. That's one. 2, I was standing next to him this morning at practice, and I thought, damn, you're bigger than I thought. And then 3, I watched him after practice, and he's out there playing more football. So he really loves playing football. And the thing I told him the other day was the touchdown that he threw against the Gators to Jacoby George. I said, I'm not sure that I've seen a touchdown pass like that from a Miami quarterback, and I'm going to get in trouble with your former partner. But I probably haven't seen one like that since Vinny Testaverde threw it to Michael Irvin in the end zone against Oklahoma. I guess Gino could argue and say, oh, come on, my touchdown to Lamar was just as good against Florida State. But, yeah, he's pretty good, and probably we haven't had a quarterback that good since one of those 2 guys.
Joe, tell us about Tyler Barron. That young man has 4.5 sacks already.
Yeah, I don't know how he got away from Tennessee, but he's been really good. Great speed off the edge, works hard. I think with defensive linemen like that, sometimes guys know how to get into the backfield, but not all of them know how to get the quarterback on the ground. And he's the complete package. He knows how to get there, and then he knows how to finish. And certainly Miami will need that on Saturday with Byron Brown, because not only do you have to get to him, but then you got to get that guy on the ground.
I didn't think I'd be telling you that South Florida was going to be Miami's toughest opponent in the first 4 after they played in the swamp, but they clearly are. And you made a good point about that Alabama game. It was 42-13, but it really wasn't. They were right there, man. They were right there till the very end. It's going to be a lot of fun. Miami and South Florida comes up this week. Joe Zagacki, the play-by-play voice of the Miami Hurricanes. Thank you, Joe.
All right, thank you. See you guys.
All right, that is Joe Zagacki talking Hurricane football. Before that, Tom Block talked about the Noles, and Shane Matthews talked Gators. It's the State Farm College Football Report. We'll take a break. When we come back, I'll give you my list of candidates that the Gators should consider. That's next. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Every team has bumps and bruises, but a major injury can shake the season.
Let me know if he's ever going to play football again, or do I need to find me another wide receiver?
Listen for the personal injury attorneys Farah and Farah Injury Update.
Jacksonville
on 1010XL.
Did you know you can charge the all-new Honda Electric Prologue in the same receptacle as your phone? You don't need these special charging stations at your home. Simply plug in your Honda or your phone. See your local Honda dealer now. We're electrified.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
When you're shopping for insurance, you might say, "What?
Huh? I'm so over this."
But what you really need to say is something that could actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When you get a local State Farm agent, they can help make it easy and help you choose the coverage you need. Plus, they're available online, over the phone, or even in person.
I'm so into this.
Call State Farm agent Catherine Baustert in Middleburg at 276-2112.
Guys, feeling deflated in the bedroom? ED, low T, no energy? If your stuff is broken, call 904-STROKEN or 904stroken.com. No shots in the first treatment, now free. Fix your ED at 904stroken.com.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? You have questions? Call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Hear the Florida Gators all season on 1010XL. Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors. Proud partner of the Florida Gators. And by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. She's very comfortable talking sports and hanging out with the boys.
Mia O'Brien here, still providing the best multimedia sports coverage in Northeast Florida on 1010XL radio, video, and social channels.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota.
Hey, David again with Royal Pest Services. TAP Insulation stands for thermal, acoustic, and pest control. Keep your home cool, noise out, and pests dead. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free inspection.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their REME Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
Hacker here, and I've got something to celebrate. Honestly, I never thought I'd be able to say this. I'm on the countdown to dropping 100 pounds. Yes, sir. 90 pounds already, thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss, and I'm just 3 weeks away from hitting the big 100. The best part? I'm reaching that 100 mark in months, not years. Life-changing and life-saving, no doubt about it. I had pretty much given up on trying, but now I'm going to be here for my son, my wife, my family, and most importantly, for myself. I'm living my life to the fullest, and I didn't know just how easy it was to make happen with Awaken 180. When I hit that 100-pound mark, we're going to celebrate big. I'll keep you updated every week as I get closer, and you can even join in on the celebration. Details to come. In the meantime, pick up the phone and make your own 180. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
The average cost associated with childhood cancer is a startling $833,000. This is Tom Coughlin, and September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Help the J Fund raise awareness to help our neighbors and community members tackling this devastating disease. Visit tcjfund.org/September for more information.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com, WM.com, and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's The Mangler. Go Team WM, and as always, Duval!
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by FIS is home all week at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark for the final games of 2024. Tonight is Buy Star Good as Everywhere Wednesday and Forever Vets Dog Day. Tomorrow is the final Coors Light Thursday of the season. Then it's Red Shirt Friday with fireworks, and the first 2,000 fans on Saturday get a Stampy plushie, plus more fireworks Saturday. Baseball all weekend. Tickets start at just $5.
We love talking sports on 1010XL, and I9 Sports loves giving kids the perfect way to grow up playing sports. Fall and winter registration is underway. Log on to i9sports.com and see all they've got to offer. Kids 3 and up. You can enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount. Year-round sports all across the First Coast. St. John's, Duval, and Clay. Sign up now for fall and winter. Great locations added like Fort Family Field, Westside Middle, and Duval Charter Bay Meadows. It's all online at i9sports.com.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Ricketts Electric Wednesday on the Frangie Show. Ricketts Electric, the power connection you can trust.
Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon, JJ LaSelva. We sure appreciate our friends from Ricketts Electric. They do a fantastic job. The best electricians in town, I can tell you that. If you need electrical work, call my friend Zach. 904-320-5960 for Ricketts Electric. They do a fantastic job. If I was the Florida football operator, if they hired me and said, Frank, you come run this thing.
I'm all for that, by the way.
And I would take the job.
I think I see national championships in our future.
But here's what I would do. First things first, we had talked about all this money. They can pay the $26 million buyout. They got the NIL. Well, the reality is I'm paying a coach $12 million. I'm committing as much as $12 million. That now gets you in the door with any of the college guys. So I'm starting with that. Here is my list, and I'm going to go in order, okay? Now, there's not any real order, but this is what I would do. Lane Kiffin would be first. I think the time is right. He's 49 years old. He makes $8.7 million. I think before he wasn't mature enough. He was too immature, and Florida was like Regal. Well, Florida's come back from the Regal a little bit, and he's become more mature, so they match a little. He's got the edge. They need a guy with an edge. I don't know if they need arrogance, but I almost want them to have a guy that's not obnoxious but not afraid. Edge. They don't have a guy with an edge. He'd be my first choice. That'd be first. And I would see if for all the reasons. Family here. He's a really good coach. Might play for national championship. The second guy I would call is Lincoln Riley. I would kick the tires. He's 41 years old. He makes $10 million. He's the highest paid college coach right now, by the way. Dabo maybe more. Dabo's not on my list, but he's the highest paid on my list. Makes $10 million. I think there was a disconnect between he and USC. They weren't physical. There were some people that really thought they might have gotten the wrong guy. Now, maybe they've changed that. How this season goes will affect, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was in play. He'd be my second guy.
Think of just real quick, think of the millions he would save from California tax
That's right.
no state income tax in Florida.
Yeah, and I'm giving him a $2 million raise, by the way.
Right.
I'm going $12 million. Third guy's Dan Lanning. I don't think he would take it. Dan Lanning is from Kansas City area, Midwest. He doesn't have Southern roots, so I'm not convinced he would take it. But Dan Lanning, he's 38. He makes $7 million. But if I'm offering him 12 and it's Florida, I'm going to make him think about it. The fourth guy on my list is Josh Heupel. He may not leave Tennessee, but he's 46 years old. Now he makes $9 million. This is a three. Again, I'm paying $12 million. The word's out. I'm going to pay you $12 million. Okay. The Josh Heupel, I would make you. He's coached in the state of Florida. He's coached UCF. I would make him say no. If nothing else, I'd make those Tennessee, and I'd let it out. I'd let those Tennessee people get nervous. He'd be my fourth on my list. Fifth on my list is Jeff Brom. Jeff Brom, I think, is a really good coach. He's 53 years old. So none of these guys are old. Okay, all these guys are in their 40s or 30s. Okay, he's 53 years old. He's the oldest guy on my list so far. He only makes $5 million. Okay, I think Jeff Brom at the right school would be fantastic. All five of these guys are currently at Power 4 schools. All five of them are very, very successful coaches. Okay, all of them have been around. They've been at different schools. They've been coordinators. Josh Heupel and Dan Lanning have only been a head coach at one place, but they've been at different regions of the country. Heupel's been at Oklahoma. He's been at Missouri.
Wasn't Heupel a head coach at UCF?
Yeah. Well, that's right. You're right. So he is, and they are now Power 4. You're exactly right about that. So good point. So he's been at two. So Lanning's the only one that's only been a head coach at one place, but that's exactly right. But they've all been experienced. That's my top five: Kiffin, Riley, Lanning, Heupel, and Brom. And I would call them all. I would kick the tire. I mean, I wouldn't say, Lincoln Riley's not coming. Okay. I would love Nick Saban. I don't think he's coming. Okay. I think I don't think 71-year-old Nick Saban, that's not where I would go. I don't think Urban's interested. He wouldn't be on my list anyway, just for all the reasons. But my five is Kiffin, Riley, Lanning, Heupel, Brom. They're 49, 41, 38, 46, and 53 years old. The highest paid of that group is Lincoln Riley. He makes $10 million. If I could get those guys, I would be interested in Mike Tomlin or John Harbaugh. Mike Tomlin is 52 years old. He makes 11.5. Now he's a pro guy. But I think the time's almost up there. I think he's done it long enough there. I think he would be a fantastic college coach. And I would ask, again, The day's over going and hiring the Louisiana guy. The day's over of going.
That's out of play.
That day, we're not going to get the Troy guy.
Right.
You're not going. So
sorry, Jamie Chadwell, but we're not.
Yeah.
Liberty, we're not coming to get you.
And Lance Leopold's not on my list, even though he's now at a Power 4. He's just not. He's the same guy to me. He's the same as Jamie Chadwell to me. So I would kick the tires. Mike Tomlin's 52. He makes $11.5 million. John Harbaugh is 61. He's the oldest guy until I get to a couple more. He's the oldest guy so far. But he makes $12 million.
John Harbaugh is 61?
61 years old.
He looks like he's 44.
And that's the point. He's a really young 61. But I think at some point he's not going to be the Ravens coach anymore. Those two guys have been there so long. I think the reason I've got those two guys on my list, it's time for the next move for them. And I think both will be great college guys. And both started their careers as college. By the way, both guys started their careers as college coaches. They were both in college for 7 and 8 years respectively so they understand the college thing. Harbaugh's brother just left the college world. So those two guys will be the next two guys on my list. All right. So I'm not done.
No, I like it.
Jed Fish would be next. I'm not excited about Jed, but he would be now 8th on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he'd be 8th on my list. He's 48 years old. He makes 7.75. I just think he changes too much. I don't think he would stay. I think he'd be there 3 or 4 years and head to the NFL, and that's what I don't want. I think if Tomlin or Harbaugh came, they're finishing their careers there. I think the other guys I talked about do not want to be in the NFL. Riley's the only exception there. So he'd be 8th. Number 9 for me would be Sonny Dykes. I think Sonny Dykes is a really good coach. He got TCU to the freaking playoff. Now, they got buried in the playoff. He always has a good quarterback. He's from that Mike Leach, Hal Mumme passing air raid world. I think he's a really good football coach. He's 54 years old. He only makes $5 million. Isn't that funny? We say he only makes $5 million.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe. Number 10 for me would be James Franklin. But I got to get to 10 before I get there. He's 52 years old. He makes $7.5 million. I think he takes it. I think he's another guy. There's a rhyme and reason to this list. He's another guy that I think is ready to leave. I think he's done that enough. So that's my 10. My next 4, Kyle Whittingham. He's a really good coach, and he's made Utah really good. My only concern is he's only been in one part of the country, and he's 64 years old. That's why he's 11th. But if you get to 11 deep, he's on my list. Now if I can't get any of those 11, then I go Drinkwitz and Mark Stoops. They're 12 and 13. Okay, so they're 12 and 13 for me, and Drinkwitz is 41. Stoops is 57. Stoops, by the way, makes $9 million. Drinkwitz makes more like 6. But Drinkwitz and Stoops are for me 12 and 13. You ready for 14?
I am
on my list. It's and I probably wouldn't do this. It's probably not the guy I would hire. But I would be really intrigued because he's never been a head coach with your guy from years ago, Joe Brady.
Mm-hmm.
He's only 34 years old. If one of the other 13 took the job, I would want them to pay $2.5 million to bring Joe Brady in to run the offense.
Yeah.
But that's what I would do. So my list, it would not be a small school guy. Other than Joe Brady, it would not be a non-head coach. Most of these guys have been head coaches multiple places. But it would be Lane Kiffin, Lincoln Riley, Dan Lanning, Josh Heupel, Jeff Brom in the college space. If I struck out all 5, I would kick the tires on Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin and Harbaugh. You're not getting them because they're making $12 million already. But again, if I'm running it, I'm not leaving any stone unturned. Then I would get, if I'm 8 deep, I would go to Jed Fish, Sonny Dykes, James Franklin. That's 8, 9, 10. Then I probably would. Whittingham intrigues me. I just worry about the geography and the age a little bit. He's 64. And then I'd have to exhaust all 12 of those or all 11 of those before I got to Drinkwitz and Mark Stoops. I think they'd be 12 and 13. That's my list. I would pay $12 million. The 2 pro guys are making about that. The only college guy even close is Lincoln Riley. He's making $10 million. All these guys, most of these guys are between 38 and early 50s, most in their 40s. That's my list.
It's a great list, and it's interesting going through it. I think the search starts and ends with 1, because I think it looks like it Florida has a great chance to get Lane Kiffin. And I'll just make a comment on Kiffin because there's been a lot of talk about Ole Miss versus Florida, and certainly Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin has put Ole Miss in a better spot than certainly where Florida is now. But this was something that I was thinking about last night, so I looked it up. The state of Mississippi has 2.9 million people. That's its population, 2.9 million. The state of Florida has 22.2 million people in it. There are way more players in Florida than there are in Mississippi. You cannot escape it. There is no way that, and not that that's breaking news. I mean, we always have Florida, California, and Texas are the big three. Georgia's right there. Ohio's close. Pennsylvania's good. No one ever really talks about Mississippi as a great, football producing state. It certainly has its players, but that's another thing. If you're Lane Kiffin, you're looking at. You're at the flagship school of a state that doesn't even have 3 million people in it, going to the flagship university of a state that has 22.2 million people in it. It's just, those are the kind of things head coaches are going to think about.
Yeah, no question. Let me be clear about this. And I know Reese Davis, who I have great respect for, does a great job, thinks it's a lateral move and he's got what he wants. And I've heard other people say this too, and I have great respect for everybody's opinion. And this is not my Florida arrogance coming out. At least I hope it's not. It's not intended to be anyways. Put it that way. When Tommy Tuberville, he did a great job at Ole Miss. But when Auburn called, he left.
Right.
Because it's Auburn. David Cutcliffe did a great job at Ole Miss. Great job. I got fired way too soon. But when Tennessee almost hired him, if they had offered him the job like they should have, he was gone. He made it clear. He was leaving Ole Miss to go to Tennessee. Tuberville did leave Ole Miss to go to Auburn. This is no disrespect to Ole Miss and to their program. It's a fantastic program. It's a great place to cover a game. He's done a wonderful job there. If Florida calls, he's taking the job. You don't stay at Ole Miss when Florida calls. You don't stay at Ole Miss. Hayes, you don't stay at Kentucky if Texas A&M called. Mark Stoops was taking that job. Okay, that was done, by the way. And then the fans got involved and they didn't take it. But there's no way you stay at Kentucky when Texas A&M calls. There's no way you stay at Ole Miss when Florida calls. So that's not disrespectful. So if that's the issue, that's not even in play. There's and everybody in the inside, I think most people know that. There's no way. Now, Florida could mess it up, not offer enough. He can not have enough control. There's other
right,
variables.
Or maybe he wins so much this year that Florida gets to a point on their timeline where they're like, we'd love to have him, but we need a coach. We can't wait until the middle of January.
Quickly before we break, if you don't have Kiffin, assess the rest of that list, who you like, not like. So if you can't get Kiffin, again, my 2 through 10, Lincoln Riley, Dan Lanning.
I would hire Lincoln Riley.
Okay.
I don't think he takes it, but I would have no problem offering it to Lincoln Riley. Who's your third?
Dan Lanning?
Oh yeah.
Who wouldn't take it?
I don't think he'd take it, but yeah, I would make him say no.
Heupel's fourth?
I don't think he'd take it, but I'd call.
Jeff Brom's fifth?
He is where the search ends because there's no chance Jeff Brom doesn't take it.
No chance. That's right.
And we've talked about him.
He's good now.
He's fantastic.
He's a really
How
good
he
coach.
got that Louisville team to the ACC championship game last year.
I know.
That team had nothing.
Terrible team.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And he was pretty good at Purdue.
Yeah.
Wasn't he?
Very good.
Who, by the way, lost to Notre Dame about 100-0.
Yeah, without
last week. It was like 50-0 at half. So obviously, for somebody that can win at Purdue and win at Louisville, offensive mind.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think to me it would be Lane Kiffin, and if Lane Kiffin and the other headliners that you mentioned. But yeah, in terms of your B list guys, I think Jeff Brom would be outstanding. I don't know that Jeff Brom would fire up the fans.
Yeah.
But I think the more that they got to know him and they looked at his resume, they would get excited.
Yeah, and it would be his third Power 5 job. Unlike Billy Napier's first Power 5.
Right. He's coached in the Big Ten.
Yeah, that's right.
The ACC.
That's correct.
And I mean,
he is a really good. And he's only 53.
Right.
So this is. I mean, I went through about 50 guys, and I came up with this group after going through 50 guys. And look, John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin aren't going to be the Gator coach. But my point is, those are two guys that I think are about at the end of their time. Not because they're not doing well. It's just about the time. It's just there comes a time. So. But I thought,
and the college space has never looked more like the NFL space.
Correct. All right. Before we break, last thing, when you get through my first 7 or 8 and it doesn't happen, Jed Fish, Sonny Dykes, James Franklin, Whittingham, Drinkwitz, Stoops. Which of those move the needle most for you?
I would go
and hopefully it never goes that way.
Yeah, I don't think they'd get that far down, but I would say I like Fish.
Right.
I like the fact he's an alum. He's an offensive mind. He understands the program, which I think is a big and you have to be impressed with what he did.
And I got him the highest on that group.
At Arizona. So I like Fish. I don't like Dykes.
Yeah.
I don't. I wouldn't want Whittingham, even though I think he is an excellent coach. But to me, that's not a great fit.
Same.
Drinkwitz, I could come around on.
Yeah.
You have to be impressed with what he's done at Missouri. I like the SEC experience.
What about Franklin?
I do like Franklin, and I've always liked Mark Stoops.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll get that deep. But if Mark Stoops here's what would happen if Mark Stoops was your coach in Gainesville. You would be 29th in total defense, not 102nd. So he would definitely solve that.
That's the list. Headlines are next. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update, brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
The latest odds for college football's Heisman Trophy. Miami quarterback Cameron Ward is now the betting favorite. He is a plus 450. Jalen Milroe at Alabama plus 600. Jackson Dart of Ole Miss also at plus 600. Dylan Gabriel, the quarterback at Oregon, is plus 900 to win this year's Heisman. Nico Iamaleava of the Tennessee Volunteers plus 950. Carson Beck of Georgia is at plus 1,400. And Miller Moss of the USC Trojans is at plus 1,800 to win the Heisman Trophy. This update brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1010 XL.
A customer called Duck Duck Rooter saying they had some nasty stuff backing up inside their home. So we went with our camera to look inside their plumbing lines. And sure enough, tree roots in the sewer line. Need to see what's blocking your lines? Call our team to locate the issue and provide solutions to resolve it. 904-862-6769. Visit duckduckrooter.com. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jags. Duck Duck Rooter, your fully insured and certified plumbing contractor, residential and commercial.
It's truck season at Nimnick Chevrolet. Chevy trucks have what you need to get things done, like a brand new Silverado 1500. This month, you can save up to $10,000 off a new Silverado, or well-qualified buyers can get rates as low as 1.9% financing and no payments for 90 days on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickups. Now, with the largest inventory on the ground, outstanding cash incentives, and the best price guarantee, your perfect truck is waiting for you at Nimnick Chevrolet. Remember, Nimnick will always give you top dollar for your trade, and for a limited time, up to an additional $2,250 in trade assistance. You want an even better deal? Ask about demo models for deeper discounts. Shop online 24/7 at nimnickchevy.com or visit the dealership conveniently located at Park Street in Castle. So who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles Update. Our monthly card show inside Showtime is this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. A strong selection of sports cards with around 20 tables of our vendors. Card show this Saturday from 9 to 4 inside Showtime. Sports cards and collectibles. Update your collection.
Summer is here, which means it's time for road trips and family vacations. Frank Frangie here. Before you hit the road, make sure your car can handle the heat with a visit to Big Chief Tire. Their expert technicians will ensure your vehicle can handle the summer heat, from tire checks to AC services. Avoid the stress of a breakdown and travel with confidence. Visit BigChiefTire.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule your summer checkup today. Big Chief Tire keeps jacks rolling.
Get this thing unwrapped here.
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, man. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. Johns County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Daily Stash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, you know, like me. I'm sure there's a Daily Stash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course,
oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it!" and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Daily Stash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Daily Stash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month.
So here's a reminder to get screened. Ackerman Urology has 4 convenient locations to help you put your prostate health first. Guys, don't put this one off. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
Keeping up with Seminole Nation.
Join the Noles and their road to repeat as ACC champs.
Stay close to the Seminoles with the Florida State Seminole Report. Brought to you by your local Ag Pro, your home team on 1010XL.
Prosser here. I've been telling you for years about Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Football season finally upon us. Imagine watching your favorite team in your new Lifetime Man Cave, family hangout, or Lifetime's version of a she shed. And now Lifetime is expanding their replacement window division. Make your home energy efficient with their Energy Star rated windows. Enclosures, flooring, and windows to fit any and all budgets. Visit the showroom just off Phillips Highway. Proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let Lifetime be your home team.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Now that's what I call high-quality H2O.
If you want high-quality water in your home at a fair price that won't scare you to death, then talk to someone who knows water and is not a pushy salesman. Contact your local water boy, Keith. I install premium equipment and can repair or even rebuild your existing system. In a business known for aggressive sales tactics, let me show you how my approach is different. If you've got any water problems, contact the water boy at waterboyjack.com.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Tony Smith and Mike Dempsey this morning on Jaguars Today discuss perhaps one of the biggest surprises for the Jaguars in their 0-2 start.
Anton, being what he's been through the first 2 weeks, might be the biggest stunner of everything to me that's happened
on the whole
team. Yeah. For the entire roster, that's the one that's like, what is happening? Because he was a good player for him last year, and he's coming up really small in big moments for the football team to this point. It's as stunning as anything else that's happened with the team.
Maybe it's just a small sample size, and we'll just say, hey, Anton got off to a slow start, but he turned into the guy we expected him to, but he's not that at the moment.
Mike and Tony on Jaguars Today. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars Update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round.
It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
Welcome back to the Frangie Show. We've got Frank Frangie, JJ LaSelva, and I'm Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, give them a call at 251-1111. Frank, we'll start right with some NFL news. The Colts are having to play standout defensive tackle DeForest Buckner on injured reserve with an ankle injury. That means he will miss the first Jaguars game in Week 5.
Yeah, he's an important part of it, too. They don't have a lot of star defensive players, even later in his career. He's a terrific player. That affects them against the Jags, and it affects them overall. That's big news.
Week 3 will officially begin tomorrow night, but we'll give you a preview. Only 2 matchups of undefeated teams this week. Houston at Minnesota and the LA Chargers at Pittsburgh. Kind of 2 unlikely matchups there in terms of look, two of those teams are going to be 3-0 after this
Yeah,
week.
it feels like to me the Steelers have done it with smoke and mirrors. They've scored hardly any touchdowns. I mean, I think they're just okay. The Chargers I haven't seen. The other one's the interesting one. I need the Vikings to win that game. Go Sam Darnold, please. That's an interesting game, no question.
Let's get to college football, where the ACC might have a deal to keep FSU and Clemson by boosting their revenue.
Yeah, and what they're going to do is, rather than say FSU and Clemson get more, they're going to base it on television ratings you get. Well, then FSU and Clemson will get more. That's a really smart play. If we're going to base it on who gets, because there's far more eyes watching those two teams, far more than anybody else in the league. Possible exception in Miami, but for the most part, that is a very good plan. They're also going to whittle the grant of rights to 2030. Here's what happened. FSU and Clemson made all the noise, found out nobody wanted them, so that this may be what they wind up getting out of it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's get to Major League Baseball. Shohei Ohtani hits his 48th home run as he closes in on becoming the first 50-50 player ever. Ohtani also has 48 stolen bases. The Dodgers have 11 games left.
It's amazing that we haven't seen anything like him. Only Babe Ruth has ever been able to pitch and hit at this level. Babe Ruth couldn't run. He may be the most skilled player, not best, but skilled in the history of the sport. It's amazing.
The Braves lose again, now 2 games back of the Mets.
And I'll tell you, that thing's going to be really interesting. We still got 15 games to go now. That may be the best race, is who gets spot number 7 between the Braves and the Mets, two teams that don't like each other very much. For a guy like me that doesn't care about either one of them, it's been a blast watching, I can tell you that.
Absolutely, and we'll close headlines with Walk-Off had an event at the Jumbo Shrimp game. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, last night, our Walk-Off scout team, we put together a scout travel team, 18U kids that normally wouldn't get to play on a travel team. And we've done it for the last 2 years, and these kids are freaking fantastic. They're actually ranked in the top 30 or 40 now of all these teams. That's not why we did it, but that's kind of cool. They said, you know what? We changed the paradigm a little bit. We've changed some barriers. They went and played great. And Hays, they respected the game. They respected their teammates. They respected the opponents. They respected their coaches and the umpires. And I told them that last night. We had a little thing for them. Premier Water let us use their suite, and we put it on for them last night, and the whole team showed up, and Tom Stanton, the coach, and Jared Simmons, who does such a good job running Walk-Off for us. It was a magical night for us to say thank you to those kids that represented us so well. And young kids in those communities looked up to those guys. Young kids watched them, and that's what we're trying to create. We're trying to create baseball in some communities that haven't had it, and last night was a fantastic night. Thank you for asking about it.
Sure thing. That's awesome. And that's all I got for you.
Well done. Well done on headlines. We appreciate it very, very much. An abbreviated issue, but really, really good stuff. JJ, where have we been today?
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
Brett Hastings stopped by to talk about Jaden Rashada and will his situation affect Billy Napier. We'll keep an eye on that for sure. We had the State Farm College Football Report. Shane Matthews stopped by, as well as Tom Block and Joe Zagacki, talking about the Gators, the Noles, and the Canes. Good time to be a Cane, not so much the other two schools for sure. I gave you my list of candidates who I think Florida should pursue. Lane Kiffin's at the top of it. Lincoln Riley, Dan Lanning, Josh Heupel, and Jeff Brom are the top 5 in my list. We had an awful lot of fun on the program today, and that's where we have been. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I shouldn't say fun search. That means someone got fired. But it is going to be a very intriguing search if we get to that point. And, oh, by the way, Hays and I both gave you ideas what we think the Jaguars need to do. Hays would replace the left tackle, Walker Little in place of Cam Robinson. I'd like to see them attack through the air and really involve that fantastic receiver room. So fun show, busy show today. No
Absolutely.
question.
It's been a lot of fun. And yeah, it's, that's the thing with, even if Florida beats Mississippi State Saturday, it doesn't change anything. Even if Florida beats UCF in 2 weeks, it doesn't change anything. There is no way he is getting next season.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Well,
because the Tennessee, Georgia, and Texas games are going to be massive.
Yeah, I think people will now acknowledge he would have to get to 6 wins to have a chance, and probably 7 to definitely come back. Well, there's no way they're getting to 6 or 7.
I think, honestly, even if he got to 7 now, I would still fire him.
Well, I can tell you, if he got to 7, I don't think they would, but there's no chance.
They're not going to get there.
Right. What people have missed, what we've learned, what I missed, what we've learned. In this part, I missed. Their players aren't very good.
No.
I didn't see that part. I thought it was coaching, planning, get some older guys. They had to play too many young guys. They had to get the feel of it. The one thing I missed going into the season was the fact that they don't have very many good players. Trey Wilson's a really good player. Jamar James is an okay linebacker. Graham Mertz is a serviceable quarterback. DJ Lagway's at one point going to be very good. Bro, that's about it. Yeah, I just went
Who's
through.
their best lineman?
Yeah. On either side of the ball.
It's vacated.
Maybe Austin Barber, who's just okay. But they just don't have very many good players. You know, one thing about, we're going to say hello to Rick in a second. Florida State still has some good players. The defensive line's good. They're maybe not as good as advertised, but they're still pretty good. They're going to be in the NFL. Does Florida have anybody on the teams going to be in the NFL?
No.
They may not even have any NFL players.
No.
So it's amazing stuff. So, all right, that's it. Let's say hello to my friend Rick below.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers, the exclusive provider of BioTarget regenerative therapy for pain. Visit GoBioTarget.com for a location near you.
Rick, I was telling Hays, you just heard it. The biggest surprise to me about Florida's football team, the players aren't very good. I mean, it's weird FSU is very disappointing. But those 4 defensive linemen are still going to be in the league. There's still some players that are going to be in the league. It's not, you know what I mean? Florida's got no good players. Isn't that shocking?
Well, you missed your best player last week.
Yeah.
When Wilson was out.
I agree. But isn't it shocking?
Yeah.
That, I mean, you've covered college football for 30 years around here too. Isn't it shocking that there's no good players on that team?
It's amazing to me, and I'm just trying to think about, Miami obviously has got it going right now, but I mean, what has happened around here? When I got here in the mid '80s and through 2000, I mean, this rivalry was so great. This rivalry now it's a joke. It only means something to us and our listeners. I mean, people don't care about it in Portland, Oregon, or Portland, Maine. Right. It is nothing anymore.
But see, Florida State is very disappointed in their 0-3. They may be 0-4 after Cal comes in, okay? But there's still some NFL players in that locker room.
Yeah.
Florida's got no NFL player. I'm just astounded. I'm just astounded. But I mean, it's shocking to me.
You usually have a DB or two that's ready to go, a wide receiver or two that's ready to go, and you will next year with Wilson because he's a true sophomore, right?
Anyway, so what we do? What's coming up tonight?
We got a little bit of that. Tim Brando's going to be with us here in the very first hour. He's in Lincoln. He's getting ready for a big one on Friday night with Illinois and Nebraska, a couple of top 25 teams. So we'll do that. Firm it up a time with Timmy. It's either going to be right out of the chute or it's going to be at 25 past. With Tim Brando. John Osher tonight, the very latest on the Jaguars, and our good buddy Rafael Esparza checking in live from Las Vegas.
Love it.
We will check the money.
All coming in tonight. All right, Rick, thank you. Rick Ballou, he goes into the night. That comes up right now. Tomorrow, by the way, our 2 to 4 show. We'll be here at 2 o'clock tomorrow. We will hear from Greg McGarity. He will stop by to talk Gator Bowl, and we'll do a whole lot more, so we're looking forward to it. Remember, 2 to 4 tomorrow is our program. We're out here. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.
It's the ride home with The Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
It's the play that turned hope into victory.